Matthew Moniz here, and this is the Dell Inspiron 7000 27-inch all-in-one. It's using the latest AMD Ryzen processors. This is the first all-in-one that I've tested using them. It's VR ready, powerful enough to game, and it's great for content creators. I have a lot of great things to say about it, and a couple of things that could be improved for the next iteration. So is it worth it? Let's find out. The design of this all-in-one is absolutely beautiful. It's super clean, it's sleek, and it's very simple. You can place this anywhere in a small house, it blends in with your furniture, and it doesn't take up much space. At first glance, you're probably thinking this is made out of all metal, but in fact, it's mostly made out of plastic, and they've done that to reduce the cost. In fact, I really think they got their inspiration from the XPS 13 and XPS 15 due to that infinity edge display. If you were to take those laptops and turn it into an all-in-one, this is probably what it would look like. There's plenty of ports, so on the back you have a HDMI in port, two USB 3.0 ports, a USB 2.0 port, and on the back right there's an HDMI out port, a USB 3.0 port, a USB Type-C 3.1 port, and a USB 2.0 port. Finally, on the left you have an audio jack, SD card slot, and another USB 3.1 port. Now, two things I want to mention. HDMI in is super important for an all-in-one. Let's say 10 years down the road or even 6 years down the road, you can't upgrade it anymore, things slow down, you can still use this as a monitor by hooking up a desktop or a laptop to the HDMI in port. The second thing, that USB Type-C port is not Thunderbolt 3. I would have loved to see a Thunderbolt 3 port on this to kind of future-proof it to run faster devices. Speaking of the inside, it's definitely this all-in-one's biggest achievement. Everything inside of here is upgradable except for the GPU. The 2.5-inch hard drive on the left, you can swap it out anytime. The M2 NVMe SSD, you can swap it out anytime. And there's two DIMM slots that are capable of holding up to 32 gigabytes. And let's say 2 years down the road, you're not happy with the performance of the CPU, you can swap it out and upgrade it to a new one as well. It's pretty crazy that you can upgrade most of the components inside of here. The majority of all-in-ones that I've tested, you can't upgrade much, sometimes the RAM, sometimes the hard drive, but the fact that you can pull out the CPU is pretty impressive. What's also impressive is the 4K display on this thing, but there is a 1080p version as well if you don't need 4K for, let's say, if you're a video editor or doing content creation. It's matte, it has no glare, it's IPS, and has a really good color accuracy, hitting over 100% sRGB ratings. Now, there is HDR10 support, so if you consume a lot of movies on here or subscribe to Netflix and you're watching a film that has HDR10, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. The only complaints about it is bezel-less, so that means the camera is on the bottom, so whenever it's on, it's going to stare directly into your nose, but it is using Windows Hello facial recognition, so you can use your face to log into your computer instead of typing in a password. Sound on this all-in-one is incredible. There's two speakers on the front and a subwoofer on the back. It gets really, really loud. In fact, it even distorts a little bit at max volumes, but if you're sitting in front of this thing, you're never gonna wanna have it at full blast because it will hurt your ears. The highs were very crisp, the mids were good, but there's not that much bass. And if you wanna fine-tune the audio, there's presets installed using the MaxWave audio software. I found the default preset to be the best one. Dell sells this as a complete package, so you get a mouse and a keyboard in the box. The mouse feels very cheap. It has this arc to it, it's a cheap piece of plastic. I really think one day I'm accidentally gonna crush it. The keyboard is awesome though. Even though the keys I found to be a bit mushy, there's good travel distance, and there's 3 profiles that you can switch between. So the first profile uses the wireless dongle that connects to the back of the all-in-one. Then you have 2 Bluetooth profiles that you can use with, let's say, a tablet or a smartphone. Now let's talk about performance, and there's 4 configurations to choose from. They all come with AMD's Ryzen processors, but the biggest difference is you can either spec it with a Full HD display, an RX 480, or a Ryzen 5 1400 processor, so that's 4 cores. Or if you want to beef it up to its potential, you can get a Ryzen 5 1700 processor, so 8 cores, 4K display, and an RX 580. Mine's the most expensive one, retailing for about $17.99, and it's perfect for someone who wants to game a bit and also do content creation. So let's talk about gaming first. The RX 580 inside of here is very comparable to a GTX 1060, so you can be able to play games comfortably at 1080p with settings set to high or even epic. In Overwatch, I was getting about 90 to 100 frame rates per second with settings set to epic. In PUBG, things did slow down quite a bit. I had to drop it to medium settings. Probably something to do with my setup. I think it should be able to handle it quite comfortably with settings set to high. Now here are some other games that I tested on this computer to give you guys a better idea on how it performs. So a quick note for those of you deciding between the AMD Ryzen 5 1400 and 1700. The 1400 has 4 cores, so if you're just gonna game on it, you're not gonna stream very much, and you're just gonna browse the web and watch movies, you're totally fine with the 4 cores. But if you're gonna do content creation like video editing, streaming your video games, get the one with 8 cores because those extra cores do a much better job than even something like the i7 7700K from Intel. Let's talk about heat management, and this all-in-one performed very well. AMD Ryzen chips generally run pretty cool, especially compared to the Kaby Lake processors from Intel. The CPU temperatures never exceeded 66 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter how much I gamed or what heat tests I performed on it. The only area that got kind of hot was on the top back near the vent. It got around 50 to 53 degrees Celsius, but that's where the heat's coming out, so it's kind of expected. I wouldn't worry about overheating too much with this computer. It did a fantastic job. Now for sound, it did get very, very noisy when it was under full load. I was passing 50 decibels, which is above what I would like it to be, but when it's not under full load, it stays fairly quiet around 35 decibels. So here's what I like about the Dell Inspiron 7000 27-inch all-in-one. I really dig the design. It's simple, it's sleek, and it's perfect for small spaces. I love the display. It's perfect for content creation and gaming. It has good sound, tons of ports, and everything inside is pretty much upgradable except for the GPU. The only thing I don't like about this computer is the fact that you can upgrade the GPU and it doesn't come with a Thunderbolt 3 port. Now, if you're not going to be able to upgrade the GPU, it should have came with a Thunderbolt 3 port because down the road, at least you can hook up an external GPU. For $1,000, you're getting a really good package, which is really affordable for an all-in-one. In fact, if you're to build your own PC, you'd only be saving a little bit of money. So what do you guys think of this all-in-one? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.